This week I chose to review Lumosity using a mix of Mayer's principles and the guidance provided by Mayer and Clark. Lumosity is an online program consisting of brain training games centered around memory, attention, flexibility, and problem solving. I just started a new account, but I had previously used it a few years back when I was commuting quite a bit. One of the first things that really stands out to me is the element of user control. Before the workouts even started, the user can review their LPI, or Lumosity Performance Index. Here you can see your areas of strength and weakness, compare your stats to other users, and then decide what you'd like to work on. Here's a daily workout which is recommended, and users have the option to choose that or select a game under any of the various skill sets. To show you how varied it is, I've chosen to go through a workout. I've already completed a few sections, so we'll start with the flexibility portion. The exercise measures response inhibition, keeping in line with Mayer's principles. In pre-training, the user is told the purpose of the exercise and what the outcome should be. We also see the spatial contiguity and signaling principles simultaneously here with the orange Next button. Content, and it's very apparent that it will take us to the next section. Again, in line with pre-training, the user is given instructions and also has the option as to whether or not they'd like to skip it. Again, the user control aspect is really nice, and we see signaling in action with the outlined arrow keys at the beginning of the exercise. So here we're taking a look at the practice exercise, and when the user is correct, they receive a green arrow and an upbeat sound indicative of success. When they are not, they receive a red X, and the sound implies the same. Further clarification is also provided regarding the directions for play. We also see the coherence principle in action here. Notice that there's not a bit of extraneous material. Lumosity provides the learner only with what they need to be successful. The presentation of the next exercise is exactly the same as the first, so we get this nice sense of repetition, perhaps somewhat in line with the redundancy principle. This program starts to become intuitive to the user, and so they're more focused on the learning objective than they are figuring out how to use the platform. I'm going to skip the tutorial for this one because I've played it before, but again, we see that the arrow keys are used here, and so we're going to indicate in which direction the middle bird is facing. Once again, being able to skip the instructions puts the user in control of the content, makes it much easier to move ahead to new lessons. You'll also notice the change game icon at the bottom of the screen on the right-hand side. My one complaint is that this is not really in line with the segmenting principle. So once the game's started, the learner can't advance at their own pace. And of course, there's no back button, but because these are tests that are time sensitive and based on reflexes, that doesn't necessarily apply. Content sequencing, however, is definitely in the mix. Lumosity allows users to choose which content they would like to pursue, and so really, if you're not doing this daily challenge, you can proceed in any kind of sequence that you would like to. Additionally, when you first sign up for Lumosity, you receive a guided tour of the platform. Because of this, you kind of get to see an overview of the course resources, and it lets you know the various paths that you can follow. Also, when you sign up, you take one giant pretest, and I really wish that I had recorded that as I don't have the ability to go back and do it. In line with Mayer and Clark's thoughts, this really helps to calibrate accuracy. So rather than just being in control and only doing things that you like, Lumosity presents you with areas that you can improve upon based on the assessment that you took when you signed up. In the final game, in the challenge, we see something a little different in the memory matrix. So here the user's tasked with remembering the sequence of tiles within a board. So it starts off really simply with just a few and then gets increasingly more complex. I really like this one because I think it's very graphically appealing, and we see a lot of games like this that are within popular culture. A few that I can think of are Tetris or Candy Crush, and so if you're called out because you're just mindlessly scrolling or tapping your screen, you're actually working on spatial awareness and memory. So the next time somebody says something, you can just let them know that you're working on memory retention. As we approach the end of the challenge, the user reaches a screen with a congratulatory message. It includes their name, and so this is in line with Mayer's personalization principle. While there isn't any voice narration throughout the platform, the user does see their name quite frequently, as well as some additional information that they input at the very beginning. The user receives their statistics for the day, which are stored, and so when they look at their Lumosity Performance Index the next day, they might be able to choose areas where they'd like to improve, and that would then prompt them to select their next activity. While I don't have time to show you the entire platform because it's so incredibly expansive, I do want to show you one more fun learning object that I really like. Since I just started back up with Lumosity, I'm on level 1, but it lets you know based on how well you do on the first level how far you can proceed into the next portion of the game. So this is an example of a game that does not use the space button or the arrow buttons. You actually have to unscramble the words and type them in. Additionally, you can review your response time as well as words at the end of each segment. So this is something that would be great for somebody looking to increase their vocabulary or perhaps even an English language learner. I think overall Lumosity is a great platform for learners of all ages, but specifically appeals to adults and definitely has something for everybody. I look forward to hearing your replies, so let me know what you think, and I definitely encourage you to check out Lumosity when you get a chance.